Hello my darling, it's Chanel and welcome to a reading vlog, and this one is all about short books. So these are books that are approximately 200 pages or less, and I'm going to tell you about the books I read this time around in order of my least enjoyed to my most enjoyed. So we're starting off with Story of the Eye by George Batty. I don't know. This was 103 pages, although it felt a lot longer. And this opens up with the main character reckoning that the word cunt is the loveliest name for the vagina. His teenage girlfriend, because they are teenagers in this lovely, then dips her pussy in milk, after which they both masturbate to completion in the kitchen until her mother comes home and finds them. They don't care that they've been found. They're just very much into their parallel play wherever and whenever. Wear your raincoat and your willies, because my friends, there is a ton of semen, blood and urine in this dirty horror erotica that has no plot, just juices. This book is pretty much just a repetitive spate of depraved violence and sex. I personally found this edgelord, unsexy, redundant, but different strokes for different folks, hey, including the authors. Please look up every trigger warning there is in this one. I feel like this cover doesn't suit. I think this cover is more appropriate. There are some other covers that are even more appropriate, but not safe for YouTube. This was not for me. But read it if you like, and I mean really like, eyes, eggs, and testicles. The next book I picked up was The Breast by Philip Roth. This clocks in at 89 pages. This is about a guy who wakes up as a giant boobie, and despite no longer having one, this dude becomes an even bigger dick. He's trapped in this spherical body he has no control over, and he is filled to the brim with growing desires, and he starts to lose his mind with lust. Basically, he just wants to stick his nipple in any hole available. So despite the fact he's now a giant boobie, he can still sort of communicate and see and whatever, taste and smell through the nipple on the boob. And he really just wants someone to rub it and lick it and fuck it. Now, I am a boob lady when it comes to women. I love these, okay? I get it. I'm a boobs girl, but didn't work for me in this book. The character in this, and obviously the author, quote Kafka from Kafka's and Kafka's Metamorphosis a lot. And at one point, the character exclaims, "I out-Kafka'd Kafka." Did you though? Because Kafka had a lot more to say. His book was substantial and better written. I don't think one should compare oneself to some of the great authors of our time. This book really wasn't for me. It was absurd, but I don't know. I can't really talk much about it because it's such a short book. But yeah, it didn't do anything for me. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't say anything of value besides me so horny, baby. And despite their buoyancy, boobs were not enough to keep this book afloat. But read it if you like them tig old biddies, mad men, and being a boob in every sense of the word. The next book I picked up is Vulty Face by Dominique Heck. For some reason, this is not in Goodreads, and I applied to have it added to the database. It still has not been. So I did find a picture from an Australian seller, so maybe this is only being sold in Australia. This is 85 pages, and it is a book of poetry. And the title, Vulty Face, means making sense of the senseless. Unfortunately, I was not able to do that with this book. I found the language really obscure and challenging. The majority of the poems were nonsensical to me, even the titles themselves, and I'll give you an example of the titles. Travelogue, Dali, Cross Swell, Heisenberg, Aseptic Perception, Twinkle Winkling, Ekphrastic Still, Champagne Supernova Taché. Those were the things. I'm just going to randomly read one to you because, like I said, everybody likes different things. Okay, this is called Rosé C'est la vie, which is probably one of my more favorite poems in the bunch. There's a lot of foreign languages quoted in this, including Greek, French, Latin. I can't remember the other ones, but this author loves languages. C'est moi, says Marcel Duchamp, my cross-dressed body transfigured into ready-made in furs, almost femme fatale. lipsticked and bejeweled, intent on luring Man Ray and André Breton like some erotic algorithm, uncanny signature pointing to the gap between ego and alter, retinal and anti. Such art. Or is she merely oxymoronic, already fetishized? Rosé's own preference, never for binary programs, nudges up through 100 years of seeming oblivion in the dim lights of libraries, studios, art catalogues. How sharp the eyes in the averted gaze, says an angel with horns called René Magritte, thus signing Rosé's enucleation with the stroke of an apocryphal phrase. Like I said, that was one of the better ones that I could kind of make sense of. Moses was not speaking my language. Read it if you like syntax, font types, and pleasure domes with caves of ice. The next book that I read that I did enjoy and think was good was No Exit by Jean-Paul Sartre. So I've got it here, and like in this book, it generally comes in a collection. So there are 3 plays. No Exit is written as a screenplay. So No Exit is 60 pages. So that's the one I read. And this is famous for launching the phrase, hell is other people. In this play, which is quite philosophical and mostly dialogue, you have the philandering coward Garcia, baby killer Estelle, and lesbian murderer Inez. And they've all died, and they've all been brought to an apartment bedroom. It doesn't have a bed, just blue sofas. And they are basically in a room in hell for all eternity with no one but each other for company, and with nothing else to do but tear each other apart, revisit the past, and go mad. I thought this was really interesting. It is more of a classic, so the dialogue isn't modern. It's always something that I find harder to get into because it feels inorganic, the cadence and the rhythm and verbiage used, but I thought it was good. Basically, they end up just becoming each other's torturers, and I found that ridiculous but also accurate for human nature and behavior. So read this if you like blue sofas, bronze ornaments, tiresome threesomes, and if socializing is your idea of hell. The next book I picked up is Two Truths and a Lie by Sarah Pinker. This is from Tor.com, which I now think is called reactormag.com. They have got so many short stories from both lesser known and very popular mainstream authors. So in this novel, which is, I forgot to put the page number. How many page number is that one? Two Truths and a Lie. So this story is 40 pages long, and you have a pathological liar who returns home to help a childhood friend clean out their deceased brother's hoarder house. And they end up unearthing a forgotten childhood memory involving a very creepy, premonitory Mr. Rogers. This takes a look at the stories you tell yourself, the life you create, are the author of, and the fallibility of childhood memories. When does fiction become fact? How much of your reality is shared by others? This was very subtly unsettling, and it has an ending that is definitely open to interpretation. I really enjoyed this, and I would say read it. If you like creepy kids shows, dinosaur toys, and cuckoo birds. The next book I read is How to Cook and Eat the Rich by Sunyi Dean, which was 10 pages, and I also thought this was really good. In this world, times are tough, and only the elite can eat meat. But when that becomes in short supply, they decide to turn to more exotic black market fare. This is told in second person, as though you are the rich schmuck who is on the hunt for a newer, better protein source. I like this book, but I think it was heavily let down by the fact that the title is a spoiler. If you didn't know that going in, this would have been more impactful and more shocking. So the title does kind of ruin the hit a bit. But read this if you like I Can't Believe It's Not Butter, kidney pie, and non-ethically sourced meat. The last book I read for this short books reading vlog was The Last Question by Isaac Asimov. Once again, I've forgotten to put the page number. Last question, I gave you my heart. All right, this is 10 pages, 10, which just proves that great things can come in small numbers, because this was fantastic. And this is about man's quest for an everlasting energy source. Basically, They want a universal rechargeable battery. Millions of generations of human beings keep asking this AI supercomputer the same question. Will this computer finally have an answer? I can't talk much about the plot. It's 10 pages, but I thought this was really well done. It was very thought-provoking, despite the fact it is repetitive in nature with the same question being asked. It is being asked millions and millions of years, of generational years out, and you are brought up to date with what human civilization has accomplished in that time and where they are now and why this question still remains pertinent. I thought it was fantastic. Read it if you like Reversing Entropy 42, Turning the Lights On, and Staying Alive. I'm no longer doing the book awards. It just takes too much time. It's too much time, and it was making me put off editing the videos because I didn't want to sit there and make the images. So I'm not doing that anymore. But just to recap the books I read for this reading blog, we have Story of the Eye by George Bataille, The Breast by Philip Roth, Vulty Face by Dominique Heck, No Exit by Jean-Paul Sartre, Two Truths and a Lie by Sarah Pinsker, and my favorite read of this reading blog, The Last Question by Isaac Asimov. So those were the short books that I read for this reading vlog. Today I am heading out to a cafe. I'm also going thrift shop hopping. So I'm just hitting a bunch of thrift shops that are in this suburb because there's tons of them here. I also did really want to go and see Mickey 17. I still haven't got around to that yet. I couldn't find anybody to come with me. I had some friends who wanted to see it, but we just couldn't align in the session time. But I don't know if I'm going to get around to it today because it isn't getting a lot of session times. Unfortunately, it's not a movie that's just being put across all the cinemas. Only select cinemas have it, and yeah, it's just very awkward. It's either really early in the morning, bang in the afternoon, or late at night. And I can't do late at night. If I get time today, I will see it. If not, hopefully I'll see it next week when the kids are on school holidays and go with their dad. Yeah, I will take you around town with me today. This dress is absolutely shit to walk in. I'm like a penguin just doing this. Don't think I'm gonna keep it. Okay, so I should have checked the opening times. Only one out of the 6 op shops is actually open on a Sunday. That is my bad. I should have known that on a Sunday they would most likely be closed. So I'm going to that one and then I'm going home because yeah, this dress, I cannot walk in it and it's actually rubbing on my skin. I don't like it. It's not comfortable. So I'm going to just have a short day today. Grabbed this and that was everything. Till next time, stay wild, Star Child.